I think there's always challenges. Some of them may be cultural. I think ABA has different degree of acceptance in different countries. I think that in the European countries, for example, I think there still is a strong influence from psychoanalytic theory about autism, the idea that it's an emotional disturbance. I think that still exists in certain European countries. I also think that it's a big challenge to recruit and properly train the number of therapists that we need to do effective intervention. People would like to think that it's a technology and that something that a technician level of training is sufficient. But in fact, working with children with autism is a very complex condition and requires, I think, more than a technician level of knowledge and skill to be able to get the really best results that kids deserve. Well, I think it's important to understand that autism is essentially a developmental disorder, not an emotional disorder. And I think it's important that we're guided by what the research actually shows makes a difference for children with autism. And there's a pretty substantial body of scientific research that shows the effectiveness of ABA as an intervention for autism, and we simply don't have any evidence to support a psychoanalytic approach. In fact, ABA is very comprehensive in its scope. Aiming to accomplish is to help children become a complete person in all aspects of functioning. So that includes being able to play, being able to be, to share joy with other people. That's part of emotional functioning. Learning how to communicate. These are all really important, and they're all encompassed within what we would do in a ABA approach to autism. Well, I think there's some misconception about what Lovaas's approach to ABA actually was. We regard what we do today as being totally founded in Lovaas's approach. I think Lovaas was very dynamic in his approach, and a lot of the things that we do today had its beginnings even back in the UCLA days in the 1970s. Obviously, over time, we evolve, we learn more how to refine the approach. I think to a certain extent, though, you can see Lovaas's approach as being naturalistic even in the 1970s. For example, the tremendous emphasis on parent involvement in the program. He saw parents as allies in the treatment at a time when people thought the parents were the bad guys, and he embraced that. He also was a very strong proponent of moving these children into mainstream education rather than having them be relegated to special programs, institutions. Even in his time, already there was a movement toward mainstreaming children with autism in general education classes. I think the one thing what I think is maybe one of the most notable advances for us in the last decade has been the application of ABA within a group kind of format. We're bringing children together for at least a portion of their time each day to expose them to group learning using ABA principles. And a lot of people thought that ABA from the beginning was all about one-to-one, and true ABA could only be one-to-one. But in fact, ABA is a methodology that is absolutely applicable in a group format, and we see advantages of that. ABA is an empirical method, okay? So it means that we're very much attentive to what the outcomes are of what we do, and always making adjustments, making changes according to what the data show us about what's working and what's not working. And I think that's the thing that distinguishes ABA. And I think for any approach to have the potential to be of great benefit to kids with autism, we have to look very carefully, analytically, critically at what are the outcomes that people are obtaining and what it is that accounts for the change in the behavior. We certainly will look forward to being able to take advantage of developments in neurobiology. I think the kinds of dramatic improvement that we're seeing kids with autism make suggests the possibility that through intensive teaching, essentially through experience, that we can affect the way the brain functions. And that as that field advances, it may be possible to actually document like what exactly it is that's going on. There's not a lot of data yet available that's going to have any immediate practical application. I think it's an exciting time, and I think we're probably not that far away from understanding it better and perhaps being able to more specifically tailor interventions based on what the neurobiology shows us. But I don't think we're there yet. Actually, Pavlov's contributions were extremely important in the development of behaviorism, but a lot of the phenomena that he studied have to do with respondent behavior, and it's something that's been a lot overlooked around the world, certainly in the United States. Maybe people in Russia will be quicker to embrace the importance of his work. And I think it has great relevance for children with autism. In fact, a lot of behavioral challenges that we face in helping kids with autism require a good understanding of how respondent conditioning affects everyday behavior. And it seems like the field has focused so much on operant behavior, such as what Skinner studied and researched and published on, kind of to the neglect of respondent. I think they're both very, very important. So yeah, that'd be great. People can be proud of the origins within this country and take advantage of it.